Hi, and welcome to Business Equity and Opportunities. This is our 100th episode. I'm Scott Sander. When we premiered June 12, 2022, we told you the show would be designed for entrepreneurs to educate, inform, provide necessary skills to start and run a small business. We promised the information would come from successful business owners and community leaders who've all lived the small business dream. Our goal was then and is now to provide useful and compelling content that focuses on diversity, equity, and opportunities. From the beginning in each show, we've presented 7 segments, all designed to cover the most important and often misunderstood topics you'll need when starting a small business, with all of them living on through our website, beoshow.com. As we continue to our next 100, we hope we've lived up to the promises so far. With that, here's what's coming up this morning. Our Access to Capital looks back on the Business Ownership Initiative from the Indy Chamber. There are 2 new workforce regulations that may affect your business. We'll update you. Find out about the National Sweets and Snacks Expo starting Monday. Our industry focus is on data science and how it can give your business a valuable advantage. And today we get personal in our success story. Lots coming up, so let's get started. This is the month to celebrate Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Wish TV's Kat Sandoval spent some time downtown with the president of the Asian American Alliance, Rupal Thanawala. They talked about the impact of AAPI businesses.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Getting started.
New York, Chicago, and San Francisco all have a Chinatown, but why doesn't Indy?
President of Asian American Alliance Rupal Thanawala explains.
In many states and cities, the Chinatowns really evolved because foreigners were not welcomed in the city. There were many neighborhoods, they did not let them live there.
In coastal cities in Chicago, Chinatown became a safe haven from prejudice and racist laws. While these cities became magnets for Asians in the early 1800s, eventually they moved to Indiana, like Mui Ki, originally from China in 1897.
He was the first citizen and he was the first person to have the rights to vote, because as you know, in that time, not everyone was allowed to vote.
Mui Ki opened up several businesses in the state. He is Indiana's first Asian American citizen. Now his face is plastered on the mural on Bicentennial Unity Plaza.
This is perfect timing. Next week is election, and to think about that, 130, 40 years back, a Chinese man could vote in the state.
Asian Americans make up 2% of Indiana's population, and because APIs are spread out throughout the state, there isn't really an official hub, says Thanawala. We tagged along with historian Nicole Martinez for more Asian American history and stopped by the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra downtown.
So right here in the middle, and then right above on the roof line, there was a huge sign that lit up that said Chop Suey, where it was a location of a Chinese restaurant called the Bamboo Inn. It started in 1918 and existed until 1961.
Martinez tells us this was a booming restaurant in a prime real estate location that contributed to the local economy, even donating to war bonds in World War II. The restaurant was flourishing, especially during the height of the KKK.
I think it's important to see, so people could see themselves in history and also see who was supporting them in history.
The next time you walk downtown or in Monument Circle along the storefront, you now know the rich history behind them. I'm Kat Sandoval, iTeam8, wishtv.com, or follow us on Facebook for updates.
Coming up, how the Indy Chamber of Commerce creates business ownership initiatives. Access to Capital is next.
To be honest, I've barely scratched the surface of the impact Awana has made and is making in the broadcast world and the service to the communities. By the numbers, McCoy's Circle City Broadcasting employs 170 people, has increased and diversified the Wish TV on-air talent pool by over 50%, and masterminded an entire television show dedicated to educating and empowering Indiana entrepreneurs, the Business, Equity, and Opportunity Show, which, by the way, we love. And you may have seen us on it a time or 2, or 10, or 20 over the last year.
Swing into savings with the Wish TV Great Golf Club card. We've even added an interactive map at wishtv.com and the Wish TV app for easy navigation to each course.
Each card gets you a round of golf at 23 premier Central Indiana courses. Save over 75% off regular rates for the 2024 golf season.
Don't miss out on the ultimate golfing experience. Join the Great Golf Club today.
Visit wishtv.com/sports to get your Great Golf Club membership. Great Golf Club Card 2024 is brought to you by Circulus Digital Media.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. Time to talk about accessing capital. The Business Ownership Initiative, known as the BOI, is a branch of the Entrepreneur Services Division of the Indy Chamber. Handles lending. David Herron is the executive director.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. Access to capital.
I started off in banking, and started off with a local bank here in Indianapolis. And I started off as a teller and just kind of worked my way up. And I became a branch manager on the east side of town. And what really got me into where I am now is I was doing small business lending, but I was finding my way into not really being able to get these loans approved, whether it was credit, whether it was just like a newer business. So I was really just kind of seeking other opportunities. So like, where do I refer my client to if I can't necessarily help myself? So then I found another local nonprofit, which is Intent Indiana, and then from Intent Indiana, I ran their small business lending program, and then came over here in October to be executive director of BOI. BOI is a CDFI lender, community development financial institution. We provide capital to small businesses here in Marion County and the surrounding counties as well. And then at the same time, we provide free business coaching as well. I believe it's a really good time just because, as we all know, the way small business goes and grows is the way the country goes and grows. So as long as small business is doing well, the country typically is doing well. So if we can continue to provide access to capital and provide opportunities for small businesses, it makes it to where everybody is really doing well, hopefully anyway, right? A lot of small businesses, and especially minority small businesses, may be lending resistant, whether it's whatever may have happened in the past, whether they've been denied before, or they just feel like they're not in a position to move forward. To those people, I say just come and get some information from us, come and get some information from other CDFIs as well, to provide opportunity to kind of see where you are, whether it's the actual pre-lending opportunities or pre-lending side of things, or to be able to get the coaching that we provide as well. And I think if we find out where you are, we can kind of find out where you need to be, or where we can kind of take you from there. I think we talk all the time, like you have to start with even like a bookkeeper before you get to an accountant, or just make sure your paperwork and everything is in order to make sure you're loan ready. And I think once you're able to find out if you're loan ready, then we can kind of put you in the right position to move forward for the actual lending side. In order to be able to be successful, we have to know where we are. We have to know the important things. We have to know how much is coming in, how much is going out. So if you're understanding that part and on your personal side, and at the same time being able to kind of teach, I have a daughter myself, so be able to kind of teach my daughter, okay, don't spend the whole amount that you receive on allowance, or don't spend the whole amount that you receive on, even on like, she had a summer job, so I was like, put 10% of that up. So understanding her own finances, so you don't have to come to dad after the fact, after you done spent everything up. So being able to understand your personal finances and translating that into your business finances, but at the same time, make sure you keep those separate, because you don't want to commingle your business and personal, but also being able to know what you have coming in, what you have going out, to be successful as a small business owner. What really motivates me is that opportunity, that access, and I think a lot of times where business owners really miss out is just not really able to understand where these opportunities come from. I think we have all been taught to go to your bank, talk to your banker, and then after you leave your banker, just like we talked about before, after you leave your banker, what happens? If they give you a yes or a no, you still need to access the capital, you still need those funds to move forward. But if you're able to look beyond what you're used to, look beyond what you've always seen into other CDFIs or other opportunities, yeah, I think that's the best way to kind of make sure you still are provided what you need. I always think the opportunities are there. I always think with the information age that we live in, the opportunity to learn more it creates the opportunity for businesses to continue to do well. That's pretty much what I think when it comes to moving forward. You know, the interest rates are what they are now, but let's try to continue to maintain it and make sure that we are doing the things that we need to do to move forward. Just understanding their business, understanding ever changing. I think one thing the pandemic really taught us is that you have to be on the swivel all the time. You have to pivot all the time. You know, those businesses who weren't necessarily ready for the delivery part of things, you know, they were the results of what happened there. One thing about BOI, like I said, to be a part of that, access to capital, we lent over $23 million during the pandemic to over 2,000 businesses to give them that access to capital to maintain, to learn how to pivot, to do the things, whether it's technology or whether it's hiring staff, to do the things that they needed to do to move forward. So, yeah. I think being able to pivot is probably the best lesson or the best advice that I can give.
Ahead, a truly sweet convention is coming to Indianapolis. We have details.
This is a multicultural program, so it's a time for people from all different areas in life to come together and learn.
Giving people that opportunity with a different voice from different demographics is very inspirational to see.
And it's just been so amazing, so informative, lots of new information to be able to see how the news is created behind the scenes.
I have only imagined that I would be in a program like this, learning how to put different TV program levels together, but I don't have to imagine anymore.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Time to talk about the week ahead in this week's Business, Equity, and Opportunities. And what a week it will be. The Sweets and Snacks Expo starts tomorrow in Indianapolis. The National Confectioners Association says it's the group's premier business-to-business event, launching new products, helping create the next trends in candies and snacks. The association says the confectionery industry distributes more than $37 billion through retail sales in the economy each year and has at least one manufacturing facility in every state. Among those in Indiana, Newfangled Confections here in Indianapolis. Carrie Abbott is the owner.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. This Week in Business.
Well, tomorrow I will be setting up at the Indiana Convention Center, downtown Indy, for a candy and snacks trade show where we are one of 1,000 exhibitors. For starters, it's the most exciting trade show. I mean, who has an opportunity to be around all these vibrant colors and flavors? It's international, actually. A lot of even meetings can be set up with export partners. We'll have a couple of those. I would love to reach into Canada, maybe Mexico, like really other countries that have interest in a peanut butter candy. So it's Confections and Snacks. It's a business-to-business trade show. So it's people in the industry that will be attending. So buyers, brokers, manufacturers, suppliers, all of our candy partners that go to learn, they go to taste new treats, see who's in the industry, new businesses or existing businesses, but new products. I love the trends, so it's really fun to see what's happening. And this year, I actually don't know. So, because I haven't been yet this year. So 2024, I bet when I walk the floor and I read, there's a daily media piece that comes out, I'll get to see some trends even if I can't visit the booth. And when that happens, you actually won't see those hit the shelves for another year. And that's kind of how trade shows work, is companies will bring new products or there will be brand new companies and they should hit the shelves in about a year. The first year out of COVID that conventions were open, Indiana opened before the state of Illinois. And so the National Confectioners Association, the host of this trade show, gave Indianapolis a little trial because we opened first. And when they did a very modified, smaller version of a trade show, they were really just wowed by the city and the treatment, and they've had several meetings since, and they have scheduled basically a 10-year commitment of a 2-city rotation between Indianapolis and Las Vegas. So it is, we'll say, the first official open business-to-business trade show in candy and snacks held in Indianapolis. And we couldn't be more excited. Indianapolis can actually host much larger shows and conventions, but it's still 16,000 people as attendees, badge holders in this industry that will be visiting, and just spread all over downtown Indianapolis. And as a representative also, you know, kind of an ambassador of the city, I'm really looking forward to both worlds colliding. It's a big deal, absolutely, to get it. And while I love Chicago to visit, I'm not really sure it would ever go back there, because over the last few years, it allowed the industry leaders and the association to look at a lot of other cities and states and kind of change their thinking of the messaging that they want to give to the partners, to the industry. Where you have your trade shows and your conventions, you're basically setting the tone and the foundation of what you want your attendees to experience. So Indianapolis is a very friendly city. Everything is very accessible. The hospitality within the downtown area is fantastic. And so that really does match the motto, and it really does match the messaging in just spreading the joy through Confections. I'm really looking forward to exhibiting. So we will be one of the 1,000 exhibitors, just more exposure to the industry. So a lot of buyers come through. While it's not a buying show, like I'm not taking orders or we're not selling something over, you know, through our booth, this is the first time exposure to new brands. There's a lot of grocery brands that I love to partner with. They will bring in new products and quicker. And so I always look forward to seeing our grocery partners, but also I look forward to the education piece. I'm really looking forward to just being local. I feel like I can concentrate more, just being so close to home. And I'm also looking forward to showing off the city.
We're already looking ahead to next week. We will be at the convention to see how some of the small business owners who attend here are making national connections in that industry. When we come back this hour, Courtney Kincaid has news you need to hear about new workforce regulations. Before we take our short break, though, we share some words of encouragement from our partners at InnoPower.
So I'll say the BEO show has been a game changer for Indianapolis. Stories and narratives, the way you see yourself, the way other people see people that look like them, doing business, starting business, growing their businesses, you can't put a number on that. And the consistency of that. So what has happened in the last 2 years, every Sunday, people can turn on their TVs and see people that look like them, starting a business, growing a business. That is encouraging. That has been something that we've never had in this city. So having that and having that consistently happen, I see so many business owners that share the link with me. Did you see me on BEO show? They use it to advertise their businesses. So the pride around that, the businesses out trying to get on the BEO show, to say they've arrived, to say I was on the BEO show and look at what I'm doing. So it's changed. Part of the creating an environment where businesses flourish, it's all of that, right? It's not just capital, it's just not training. It's the stories and narratives, right? How we showcase businesses, how we showcase opportunities. So it inspires businesses, it inspires people to want to start a business. If you've been scared, now you're seeing people that look like you, you're seeing them be successful, you're learning about resources. You know, kudos to the BEO show, 100 episodes, time flies, right? It doesn't seem like it's been 2 years, but it's been a game changer for Indianapolis and a game changer for our minority communities as well.
This Week in Business is made possible by InnoPower. This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
You're watching Business, Equity, and Opportunities. This week in accounting and bookkeeping, Courtney Kincaid brings us up to date on 2 new workforce regulations that could have a big impact on your business and your staff.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities, Accounting and Bookkeeping.
Yeah, recently there have been a significant number of changes in employment and workforce as we try to make sure the workforce is competitive and innovative. The federal government has taken some steps recently that mark big changes, and those are the FTC's rule change to ban non-competes, as well as changing the threshold for overtime pay for salaried workers. Both of these have big implications on employers, and good and bad, right? For both, you should definitely be talking to your CPA as you think about what this is going to cost. Both of these initiatives are aimed at employers. Eventually, we'll probably have some higher salary costs, which is good for the workforce, but not something that all small business owners necessarily plan for. They are both intended to increase salaries, and through that increase in salary, the thought is that you increase innovation. The FTC ban, in particular, for non-competes, is hoping to create new small businesses. So where people might feel locked in to working for an employer, there's now a lot of new opportunity for them to leave and to start their own business without worrying about being in conflict with that non-compete. From the employer's perspective, that really changes things, right? When you think about how you retain your staff and what the cost might be, not only in paying higher salaries, but potentially in other programs or services, benefits that you might offer to increase that retention. So it's a really big deal and might have some serious financial implications. So working with your CPA is a really good idea to think about what latitude do you have in your financial picture, what can you do to better understand that piece and how it might have an impact in your bottom line overall. Another consideration with the non-competes is, your intellectual property. So that is a driving reason behind, other than the investment that you make in your employees, is the idea of, I don't want my employee going to work for my competitor and taking along this intellectual property. So making sure that you have other mechanisms in place, consulting with maybe your lawyer, but also your CPA to think about what are other ways that you can keep that safe. And so whether that's NDAs or other mechanisms, there are going to need to be other avenues that they take to protect their property. The other area where we're going to see some tremendous change is in overtime pay. The Biden administration recently changed the threshold, and it's the largest threshold increase that we've had for decades. It's currently in the mid-30s. And that threshold is going to go up to $43,000. So there's a significant increase for those employees that make less than that annually. There are some new requirements to address overtime pay. The argument is, we want to make sure that we are adequately compensating America's workforce, but at the same time, that puts a large burden on some smaller businesses and entrepreneurs who might have some benefits there that they haven't thought of. And so the long-term planning there, again, making sure you have the resources to comply. It's also just a really great idea to regularly make sure that you have your employees classified correctly. Not classifying your employees correctly can lead to some strong fines, which ends up being more costly in the long term. It's also important as you look at financial projections in the 3 or 5 year to know that that threshold is set to increase so that it keeps up with inflation. that's something your financial planner or CPA can help you with to make sure that you are adjusting for increases in expenses with the same timetable that these expenses are anticipated to increase.
Straight ahead, some things to help you run your business day to day you may not have considered. It's coming up on Business Equity and Opportunities. Here's another flashback, though, from our first 100.
There is some way to contribute in this inclusion, in this equity journey. We recognize our wherewithal is more than what many, so hold us accountable for that measure of outcome. But for smaller shops, we encourage you to pick a spot. If it's choosing a vendor or enabling more jobs for underrepresented minorities that's relative to your wherewithal, that is your call. If it's within your wherewithal. That's what we've been encouraging. I think we're fortunate in Central Indiana that many companies have leaned in this quest for a more equitable ecosystem in Indianapolis. And sometimes it's a daunting task to, well, where do I start? Don't seek perfection. Allow for the learnings and the continuous improvement mindset that should come with a novel body of work. That's what we apply in the business of making medicines. We certainly have applied that in the context of creating more equitable opportunities as well.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities, and time to talk about actually running your business day to day. Over our first 100 episodes, we've covered a wide range of stories. Some topics are obvious, others have covered areas you might not have considered otherwise and are worth repeating. Let's revisit two of our favorites. One covers crisis management plans, the other, brand marketing.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities, running your business day to day.
So a specialty in our business is crisis management and crisis communication. So whenever we get the chance to talk to entrepreneurs and business leaders, I always encourage them to think about their crisis plan. In our world, that's very narrowly focused on crisis communications and response. You may have a broader incident response strategy that you have as a business, but thinking about the crisis communications portion of that plan. So what if your business burns to the ground? What if an employee makes a really bad decision and you're looking at embezzlement or other bad business practices? What if social media turns on you and you're dealing with something that can be wholly fake and false, but it is attacking your business? You need to be ready for those incidents. So we recommend an issues management approach, which is really fleshing out 3 to 5 different scenarios that are likely to hit your company. And we want you to really cover the range, but you think about messaging and response, you think about who the spokesperson would need to be, you think about those early holding statements that you may need to share with those that are inquiring before you're ready. Think about all of the different audiences that might need to be touched in that moment, and tidy up your contact management. Make sure you know who to contact when and who that messenger should be. Even those small preparation steps can help you as a crisis hits. You're most likely going to be close to one of those 4 or 5 scenarios that you fleshed out, and you'll have a starting point at a moment when every second that passes is meaningful to your company succeeding through this crisis.
So we have your traditional temporary staffing offering, and that is the 2,000 or 3,000 employees that we staff throughout Central Indiana. But then we have a division called Axiom Performance, and we actually will go into somebody's facility and actually take over a work cell or some sort of operation. And so it's more of an outsourced supply chain program that we offer a lot of these companies, and it's very innovative. It's not your traditional, hey, I need a temp for an hourly rate. It's, hey, I'll come in and help not only run your program, but manage and help find ways to save you costs. So it's an innovative solution from our standpoint. When you're starting up, a lot of times you don't understand your forecast or what's around the corner, and so we like the option that we offer with kind of having this flexible contingent labor, because you can add staff or you can retract staff as you kind of feel out what's ahead with your business, especially as you're starting, because you don't want to add 10 or 15 new teammates and then have to reduce those staff, you know, if you were wrong on your projections. And so staffing and temporary staffing and what we offer gives flexibility to kind of ebb and flow with how your business contracts. Maybe you have a seasonal business, maybe there's some sort of ramp up in the economy and you need to, you know, hire more headcount and you don't have the HR staff to do that. That's where I think we come in and help, you know, new businesses when they're trying to figure out their optimal headcount. I think the future's bright. I think you see a lot of the US trailing Europe with some of their workforce practices. I think with more regulation in Europe, we'll see some of that, I think, in the US as we get further into the future. More and more companies, I believe, will adapt and adopt to a flexible contract of flexible temp staffing. Right now, the temp penetration rate for the US workforce is about 6%. We see that growing more over the years to come. So I think companies are going to be more agile, they're going to need more maneuverability, and they're going to lean on agencies like us to kind of ebb and flow with just the volatility and the uncertainty, especially like when you go through a pandemic and you have a quarter or two where the lights turn off or your business explodes because you're in recreational products or you're some tech company and you need talent to, you know, ramp up.
Running your business day to day is made possible by Circulus Digital Media.
If you'd like more information about any of our Running Your Business Day-to-Day segments over our first 100 episodes, you'll find them on our website, beoshow.com. Follow the QR code, it'll get you there. Coming up, our industry focus is on data science. If you're not using it now, why you may want to reconsider. That's coming up. First, though, another flashback from our first Business Equity and Opportunities 100 episodes.
In Indiana, we've been in the bottom 3 states in terms of new business formation. And we got to move up. You know, we can't be in the bottom 3 states. We got to strive to get to the middle and then to the upper half and then continue to strive to get higher and higher. Encourage new business formation. Entrepreneurs like me, great, but we have to have more of it and work with and get the word out that these resources are there. And that's where you all come in. And you have mouthpieces like me. I'm happy to sit down with you, but many others as well. No one can do a better job getting the word out than you guys.
Every business is unique, and every business has a target audience. Circulus Digital Media can help you connect and grow your customer base with turnkey digital solutions that are nimble to reach a customer base that spans the globe. Pinpoint a specific audience down to the smallest details. No matter the size of your business, put Circulus Digital Media to work for you and get results.
Welcome back to Business Equity and Opportunities. Luke Zhang is a recent Mira Award winner for the TechPoint Resilience Award. He's a senior data scientist and a rising star in the Indianapolis tech community. You're about to find out why.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities, Industry Focus.
Hi everybody, my name is Luke Zhang. I'm currently a senior data scientist / prototype architect, solution architect at Resultant. I lead our Google business unit as a technical lead. We do a lot of work with Google to assist state government, state agencies, and federal government, federal agencies. I actually go around and talk to kids 5 years old about data science and how that translates to their life. One of the big examples that I use is fairly simple. When we are growing up, our parents will teach us when you are crossing the street, you gotta look left, look right, look for the cars before you make the move, right? Crossing the street. That's essentially that whole process of design thinking and then data collecting and making decisions. That whole part is data science. Translate to the business world. Right now, there are so many applications, so many things that's happening and then accumulate data. And as logical as we are, we try to use the data to make a better decision. So there's actually a trend in industry now where data science is slowly integrating and advancing to decision science, because at the end of the day, we're using data to help us make better decisions. If you look at it as a bigger picture, data science is like the biggest circle. And then inside there's machine learning, there's AI, and now we're talking about Gen AI, ChatGPT, Gemini. So there are the small niche of the data science. At this day and age, everybody should utilize data. The company I work for, Resultant, we work a lot with not just the big public sectors, also small business, private sectors, because if you want to gain that little bit edge over your competitors, nowadays there's so much data floating around that you need to utilize it to kind of figure it out, okay, what's our next move? What products are selling better? What are the trends going on? Like during COVID, everybody's needing hand sanitizer. So those are the opportunities there, right? If you didn't get it in front of it, next thing you know, those are gone. And now coming back, full swing post-COVID where everybody loves to travel. So if you're like a small travel agencies, you got to seize that opportunity and see, okay, there are a lot more people booking the flights. There are a lot more people booking hotels. How do we utilize that opportunity? So I was actually originally born and raised in the great land of China. Hopefully my accent isn't too bad. You can still understand me. Came to the United States by myself at age of 16. Went to a private school in Florida, and then went to Rose-Hulman. Shout out to Rose-Hulman, great engineering school, #1 in the nation. Not that many people actually know. I did my triple major undergrad there for 4 years. And luckily, throughout the 4 years in college, I had a lot of opportunities to do internship, part-times, and the current company, Resultant, was actually the first company that I did my internship. So I kept that relationship going, and also, as you know, Hoosiers are super welcoming and open their arms to me, which make me feel like home, so I ended up staying after college. And I eventually, joined the company again, and then started working on the COVID response team, and now leading this Google business unit as a technical lead. This is one of my passions, trying to use my story to tell others Indiana can be an option, and not just an option, a great option. A majority of my friends actually ended up going to West Coast and East Coast because they never actually considered Indiana as an option. That's one thing that I'm super passionate about. I talk to the higher ed people. In fact, Indiana actually produced second largest engineers in this nation. We're right behind California, but we lose 83% of them to the West Coast, East Coast. Not that we don't produce great engineers or smart people, it's just we don't put the words out that they don't even know. Indiana is a booming tech town. There are a lot of other, industry that's booming as well. I think that promotion piece, that slogan piece, that catching your eyeballs piece is the most important piece. And there are a lot of great things happened here, and will happen here. We have Indy 500, we're sitting across from the symphony orchestra. We have, I just ran the Indy Mini. There's so many great things that happen here, but Indiana, to be honest, Indianapolis is not your typical spring break destinations. When I was in college, even at Terre Haute and at Rose-Hulman, we never considered Indianapolis as a place that we go visit. If you don't go visit, then we don't know what's going on in Indianapolis. So I think that slogan piece and that the talent attraction piece, how to get the words out, is something that we should work on as a state. I think for me, since growing up, my biggest thing is always trying to solve puzzles and then use that ability to help others. And luckily, with the field I'm in, data science, I don't have to be an expert in healthcare. I don't have to be an expert in law. I don't have to be an expert in any of the industries. But luckily, with data, I can provide my clients, the people that I love working with, the friends and family, with a very logical conclusion or recommendation. Whether they make that decision or not, it's out of my hands. But what I can do is putting all the cards on the table and tell them this is your next best move. I think that's the most interesting thing. And then obviously by providing them the best recommendations, you ended up helping people, because you will never know how much of a difference that those decisions accumulates. At the end, it will make a huge difference.
If you'd like more information about this or any of our industry-focused segments, visit our website, beoshow.com. QR code gets you there straight away. When we return, our success story.
Swing into savings with the Wish TV Great Golf Club card. We've even added an interactive map at wishtv.com and the Wish TV app for easy navigation to each course.
Each card gets you a round of golf at 23 premier Central Indiana courses. Save over 75% off regular rates for the 2024 golf season.
Don't miss out on the ultimate golfing experience. Join the Great Golf Club today.
Visit wishtv.com/sports to get your Great Golf Club membership. Great Golf Club Card 2024 is brought to you by Circulus Digital Media. This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Success Story.
Welcome back to Business Equity and Opportunities and our success story. We hope you consider our show a success story in progress, these 100 episodes in. As a final way to mark this first hour, we're taking you back to the beginning, long before our first show. Jason Hunter is sales director at Wish TV and executive producer on this show, and came up with some of the very first concepts for it. Thanks for the inspiration back then and the support since then. What was your idea initially with this as you and the other bosses got your heads together?
So interesting story of as we looked out and during the pandemic, and a lot of the businesses that failed or went under during the pandemic. And one of the reoccurring themes of that was they didn't have the exposure, they didn't have the knowledge, they didn't have some of the contracts, they just didn't have the know-how or didn't understand certain basic principles of running a business. And as we started to go back and we looked at it in other business shows, more importantly, they didn't have one that was in a format that they could download or that they could learn at their leisure that would help them to grow and expand upon their businesses. One of the things about as we talk to the businesses, a lot of them, the smaller businesses said, we didn't have a chance or we didn't know about certain contracts. So we felt that the show needed to put business equity out there where some of the smaller businesses had opportunities to do business with larger scale or get large contracts. So we want to offer the business equity portions of that, right? So it's a fair playing field for some of the smaller and some of the larger businesses. The end part of opportunities, that's where we wanted to give opportunities because a lot of these large corporations are saying, we have opportunities to do business with smaller businesses, but they don't necessarily have some of the basics that we need in order to do business with us. So we wanted to set up workshops and opportunities where they could learn more of, these are the types of basic fundamentals you need to have when you do business with larger corporations.
I think you hit on something important there. While I love it that people watch the broadcast, the fact that it's at fingertips all the time, all these 100 shows, the content from all of them, so we're talking about 700 segments available right now. That's a critical thing.
It's very important. It was one of the things that our owner, DeJuan McCoy, was like, in this new day and age, digital is by far a lot of how people consume their content.
Sure.
So one of the things was paramount about the show was making sure that these people who are running business, the entrepreneurs, that they had a moment to download those. So that's why they're in 4 to 5 segments. And I can't tell you how many times when we're out or I'm out talking to someone and I tell them, some of the things that we represent, they say, you know what, I saw this person, I made a contact here, I downloaded, I went to the beoshow.com and I was able to get this and it gave me just what I needed at the time I needed it.
Listen, being honest about things, you're a sales manager, so I mean, it does good for you if the businesses succeed. Are they using this information? Are you seeing a difference?
I can tell you, yes, they are. The amounts of businesses, the amount of conferences that are going out there, it seems to be moving in the right direction. I mean, as a person who is goal-oriented and has high expectations, could it be better? It could be better. But for right now, when we developed this concept to where it is right now, it's definitely the right thing to do, and it's making movement and it's making impact in the local community.
If we click these off, say 100 at a time, like we are looking back in this first couple of years, how close is it to the original vision? Are there areas where maybe we've expanded, gone beyond maybe where you didn't initially even thought?
It's far exceeded expectations. The feedback from the entrepreneurs, the feedback from the community, the feedback from the leadership is nothing but positive. Can we go in different directions and can we do different things? Can we do some things a little different? I think that's always to be said, especially with, trying to exceed what you did last year. The one thing I will say is from a promotion standpoint in the website, I think, more people could go and take advantage of some of those episodes and some of those things, but I mean, we're going in the right direction, put it that way.
Listen, to that degree, I mean, set aside an hour or so and just do a deep dive. I mean, you may look for one topic and realize, oh, I hadn't even thought about that. And I really hadn't thought about that. Great place to be. Thank you for, again, the support through all of this, and we'll keep leaning on you, okay?
Yeah. And you're doing a great job, Scott. Sometimes you lead it. You're doing a great job.
Your lips to the other boss's ears. All business, making this work or go around. Jason, thank you.
All right, thank you.
We've also been fortunate to receive several awards and recognitions this year. Jason Hunter, Minority Business Enterprise Pitch Competition winner. Jason and executive producer Peggy McClellan were named Game Changers at this year's All-Star Minority Business Week. Our owner, DeJuan McCoy, is Indiana's Small Business Person of the Year through the Small Business Administration. Executive producer Peggy McClellan is entering the Natus Gold Circle Honor Society for her 50 years in broadcasting. And Business Equity and Opportunities has received a regional Emmy nomination. We look forward to continuing our mission of informing, inspiring, empowering everyone in a journey to find small business success. Thanks to all the contributors who've shared their stories and insights over the first 100 shows. You'll find a link to all of them through beoshow.com. Again, scan the QR code to get you right there. If you have any questions or suggestions about what you'd like to see, please send us an email, beo@wishtv.com. Thanks for spending this hour with us. Join us next week for more Business Equity and Opportunities. Till then, I'm Scott Sander. Have a great day.
Business, Equity, and Opportunities made possible by InnoPower, Bose McKinney & Evans, Gemco, Fifth Third Bank, and Indiana University, Indianapolis.